Hello and welcome to another edition of the Plus One interview with my man Joey. I know y'all haven't seen him for last couple of weeks, but he's here now. Not in studio, but because he was here earlier. But we got him here. What's going on, sir?
What's going on? Thank you for having me. Excited for the conversation. Another great week. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got officially about a week or so left in this regular season. Next Sunday is the official last day of winter sports, but we got Elite Eight coming. We got quarterfinals coming up. Hopefully more of the Lynn teams advance. But before we get into the teams that are still alive, let's get into some of the teams whose season has come to an end. We'll start off with Kip Academy. I was at their game against O'Brien. I wasn't sure what was going on. I didn't see Coach Moody Bay there. I thought he was sick or something, but they had told me he had gotten 2 technicals the last game of the season, so he had to miss the game. And I was like, that ref had to be pretty bad because Coach Moody Bay usually never gets out of character or never goes off on referees from what I've seen. So it was interesting.
I have to agree. I can't speak because I didn't see that game, but I've never seen Moody act like that. But regardless, another tournament trip, another strong seeding from the Panthers, and led by Trotsky, who is definitely a top, 5-10 player in the city, in my opinion. Love his pace, love his game. So a good year for Kip, but an unfortunate ending.
Yeah, they're still trying to get that push for that, make a deep postseason run. They'll get there someday, but they got a good foundation though with Coach Moody Bay there. Charsky was a great player to, kind of help the program moving forward. 4 years with them, 1,000-point scorer, just did everything asked of him, showed a lot of leadership. So they got nothing to hang their heads low about. It was a really good season, had a lot of impressive wins. Trotsky getting the 1,000 points, but those guys are a scrappy bunch, and I think some of those guys are returning. They got a good amount of guys returning. So hopefully, they just get those pieces that'll come in and help them get over that hump to make that deep postseason run.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this many times in the sense that a lot of times it's about the foundation you build, right, with these high school programs, and I think the culture's there with Kip. The team knows what it is and their identity, and I like what Kip's done the last 2-3 years, and I think Moody and company will be back. They'll take that next step, I think.
Yeah. Let's go over to the Lady Bulldogs. The Lady Bulldogs, their season had come to an end at the hands of Attleboro last Monday, I believe it was, or Tuesday. Sometime last week. I was at that game. It's hard to just, when you just go 5 deep and don't really sub, and not sub at all, I should say, until one player fouled out. But those seniors, they really... they played the majority of the game, no complaining, no nothing, just went out in there and played. They fought, they had their moments to try to take the lead from Attleboro, but it just, they just ran out of gas at the end. But, Coach Brennan, second year tournament run, she has 4 freshmen that were on varsity. It's going to be the foundation for her next year. So they got good things ahead. Jayliana Concepcion, she's shown she's a future star in this city, so I like the direction the Lady Bulldogs are going.
Oh, I'd have to agree with you. When you look at the program a year ago, it was fine. It was just they've really taken it up multiple levels this year, which is a goal Sydney wanted. She wanted the state tournament in year 1, was flirting with it, didn't quite get it, came back this year even stronger, and they reached the tournament and played a competitive game there. It's not like, you see some of these teams squeak in and then they get blown out. They were in that one for a while. That was competitive. So love the culture there, just like Kip. And man, I think Sydney, a couple years from now, I'd be surprised if they wouldn't have, big pile of wins and some accomplishments individually and a lot of good memories I think that they're going to create there.
Because I believe they got a couple upperclassmen returning, which is going to help. But the key for me is those 4 freshmen those 4 freshmen. They got some minutes during the season. You know, Jaliana got more of the minutes. She was kind of coming. She started. There was one game she started, I believe it was against Salem, her first varsity start. She scored 21 points. Coming off the bench most of the season, she's shown signs. So next year, I'm expecting her to take the leap. And also some of those younger players that didn't get that many minutes, but they have promising futures. So yeah, that core is definitely gonna be one to watch. Lynn Classical. You know, they started the postseason off with a good win over Hudson on the road, getting the upset. Then they fought, I believe, was it Norton they played?
Yeah.
Norton, that game was pretty close throughout, and I think Coach Sawyer said Norton just pulled away in the second half. But hey, the Lady Rams all year, they were a tough team, man. You know, they were a tough out, but great season for Coach Sawyer's group.
I could be wrong. I think single digits halftime, end of third quarter, maybe around 10. And then, whether it was the home court, the talent, whatever, Norton pulled away. But Classical, they were versatile, led by Divine Egbuda, who definitely a legitimate scorer in this city. And love what Coach Sawyer did. He was happy with how Classical was represented that night. He told me he was just proud of his girls for competing and, representing that logo very well. So Classical, just like the English girls, I think big stepping stones. And while we're talking about both of them, I can't wait to watch them play each other next few years.
And getting a tournament win does a lot. It does a lot. That's just going to boost. That's just going to help them moving forward when they get back to it, so they know what they do. I'm just hoping next year they could. They've been having good records. They just got to find a way to get some home games in the postseason. So that's one thing right there with them trying to get a home game. The Lady Tigers, their season came to an end. Only one senior on the team, and that was Angie Bingham. Her career as a Tiger ends. A great career for her, scoring 1,000 points this year, racked up a lot of wins, filled up the stat sheet each and every night. We know what we're going to get from the Lady Tigers. So they fought all season, but season comes to an end. But there's some players that they got there.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Caitlin Wechsler, who, by the way, also we just wrote a story about her, and she's packed. She's a elementary teacher, and then she comes over to Tech and head coaches 3 sports. So she's a busy lady, and she did a great job. It seemed like every time we exchanged, in a conversation after a game, or even just exchanging texts, it was like a different player did something every night. And, NG led the way, 1,000 points this year. That night was awesome, probably the highlight of the season for the girls team. But loved the contributions that the Lady Tigers got. And they'll be back. Like you said, only one senior on the team. So the fact that they got some big game experience, they just met their match, I think, in that round. But as long as you can take good things away from a loss like that, I think that's all that matters with Tech.
Definitely. And it seemed like the story with them and a lot of the teams this season is they all fought. There was fight. They wasn't going down without a fight. So sometimes that's all you can ask for as a head coach is give the effort and, leave it all on the court.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it seems like no matter the sport, every coach just wants to see the school represented well in classy fashion. And, as long as you give it their all, I guarantee you most coaches would be happier with a loss if they feel their players gave it their all and improved that night. You can only play the best you can. So hopefully that's, at least when I talk to coaches, that's their approach. So, but with the Lady Tigers, versatile, a lot of contributions, and can't wait to see them be back. And it'll be different to see how they play without Angie. They're going to have a new style somewhat. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, the teams that are still alive, let's start off with the Lady Spartans, the number 1 seed, 2 dominant victories. in the state tournament so far. They are in the Elite Eight, where they will be playing tomorrow, getting another home game. I believe they're at home, right?
Yep.
Are at home. Hey, man, we knew this team coming in here was good. That's why they're the #1 seed. They played a tough schedule all season, playing numerous ranked teams. So we know they're battle tested. So they still have that sour taste from last year, semifinals loss. So it looks like they're on the right path to that trip to Lowell. So 2 more wins and they're Lowell bound, but they got to handle business tomorrow. And what we know about Coach Newhall is he always has his team ready to play.
Speaking of exactly that, Monday night that gymnasium was very happy with the first 10 seconds of that game, because 10 seconds in they already scored a basket and then got a steal. And I think it was a 12. No, it was an early lead, around 12-2, and then it was a 7-0 start, something like that. And the other team calls a timeout. Newhall's clapping. The energy was there, and they can beat you. It's not just Bella, not by a long shot. I mean, they've got Roberts, they got Charlie Green, they got Matella down low. I mean, they can really beat you in a lot of ways. And Bella had a great game. Bella Owumi. She had a solid game, but she didn't steal the show by any means, and that was okay, because she'll probably do it in one of these future games. And Charlie Green came in off the bench, was an energizer, blocking shots, diving on the floor, finishing at the rim. So St. Mary's, I'd be very shocked if they don't make a few more dents in the D3 tournament.
First game, you talk about Green. She definitely had, I know they won in convincing fashion, but she came off the bench and scored 11 points. And I was saying, watching that game, those minutes on the court are very important as far as just getting the feel for the game, feel for the tournament, getting chemistry, and getting in the rhythm, because it's gonna help. It's gonna help down the line at some point, because there might be a time where they're in a situation where Bella is getting double teamed, or the defense is focused on her, and she has to find one of her teammates to make a key basket. So those minutes for Green are definitely very important, because she might be needed down the stretch of the game.
Oh yeah, and she's just about as complete a high school basketball player as you can find. That's why the offers pour in, but she does get trapped, she gets doubled, so they have a lot of shooters too. The fact that they can just rise up, and Cece off the bench is also a big energizer. She had a good block, she had a steal, she found her way into the paint and was able to create opportunities from there. And like you said, Bella, sometimes she'll win you a game, but she's always making the right play. And I think she has no ego on the court either. I think if she feels that her team could benefit more from her kind of being a facilitating playmaker, she'll probably do that.
Definitely. So Thursday, it'll be packed in there again. I don't think it's packed as yesterday, but it'll definitely be packed for those ladies. Let's talk about last night at St. Mary's, Lynn Classical, St. Mary's. Very, very, very hyped up game, very highly anticipated game, and then the game started, and St. Mary's started the game on a 7-0 run.
Well, I mean, people, I'm sure they've been asking you the same thing. Was it really a 20-something point game? I said yes and no, because, a 31-27 game at halftime is extremely close, and then just something about those adjustments and the defensive pressure really ramped up in the second half, man. And I think Classical felt the moment maybe a little more than St. Mary's, and I think Brown and company, I think they relished in the environment a little better. That's just me and my approach to how to analyze that. But JJ Martinez is also a different level. He's the best player on the floor most nights, and definitely played like it with 26 points.
I get the benefit of easily rewatching the game, because I have it easily accessible to me. So I rewatched the game. 26 turnovers, you're not winning a playoff game if you turn the ball over that many times. 26 turnovers, giving up a lot of offensive rebounds. You cut the lead down to 4 going into the half. You finished the half on a 8-0 run. Lynn Costco I'm talking about. Finished the half on an 8-0 run. They was down 31-19. They, 8-0 run to close the half. Now you're down 31-27. And then you start the second half. You miss a shot. You go back to the man-to-man when the zone defense was working for you. And St. Mary's starts the third quarter on a 12-0 run, and that's about what the doctor wrote right there. That first 5 minutes of that third quarter pretty much turned what could have been a game that could have gone down to the wire into what it was. That's basically what happened.
Head coach Avery admitted it after the game. He said that, the second half was the turning point. More particularly that start of the third quarter. And Coach Brown at halftime told his players, the first 3 minutes of this half could decide the game. And boy, did they come out of the gate to start the third and playing high intensity, high level basketball. And I thought, June Vasquez really made a big difference because when he's such a lethal shooter, and then also you got to pay attention to him. So then Jake Fortier and JJ can find their opportunities when the defense is focused on Vasquez at moments. So I think he blends very well into the Fortier Martinez mix.
One that the player that quietly had a really good game off the bench was the big man Gabe Sykes. He came in there. He had some good baskets for the Spartans, got some good rebounds, played some good defense. If you just rewatch that game and you see his contribution off the bench, he quietly had a very productive game for St. Mary's. So, yeah, the role players came in and kind of made the difference for the game. Made the difference in the game for the Spartans. Lynn Classical, where do they go from here? Well, they're only graduating 2 seniors. Their core is returning. Now they got some experience in a big game under their belt. Last year they lost in the preliminary round to Foxborough. This year you win a game in overtime. You feeling good about yourself. You get to the Sweet 16. Now you understand what is needed to make that deep run.
Oh yeah. Any experience is good experience, I think, in the state tournament. And even a loss, it's just these players are going to want to come back stronger, and they're going to want to play in that environment again. There was probably some nerves and some excitement, a little mix of both. I just don't think that, St. Mary's played a great game, but Classical was right there until the third quarter. So I agree with Coach Brown. Classical has nothing to hang its head, low. And where do they go from here? I think they're just fine. I think they've got the culture and like you said, the core is coming back. So I think they'll improve from an individual standpoint, and then they'll come together next winter, and I'm sure it'll be a strong program again.
Are back on the court Saturday afternoon in the quarterfinals. They will be hosting. Well, they're going to be the home team because they're the 1 seed, but they'll be playing I think they're playing at Lynn Classical. I think that's where the game will be. 4:00 game Saturday, so I'm sure it'll be a packed gym in there. I have to make some adjustments for my Saturday plans now, but it's all good. And lastly, we have Lynn Tech Tigers who are on the court tonight, where they will be taking on a really good Manchester Essex team, but Coach Bingham and his guys, they are prepared. They've been in this situation before last year, so they know what it takes. It should be a fun night over there at Lynn Tech because, once again, they're the only team playing, and it should be a packed house.
Yeah, let's hope so. We'll be there. We'll see you there. We're excited. And, with Coach Bingham Friday night, when I talked to him, outside the locker room, it was he was happy, and they just have a common goal of winning the state championship. You can tell he's happy with the step, but he wants more. I think that's what his players are feeling too. And all the great Bingham lines were on display. Lynn Tech pride, Lynn Tech defense, and he was happy. He thought those were there Friday night, and they played like it. They played the opposition didn't go down easy, but they went down in the end because Tech was really putting the pressure on. And man, Giovanni Jean is a great player, definitely one of the best in the city, and he can change a game himself.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We all know how good he is. But I'm excited to see the game tonight. The winner of tonight's game will be playing Friday against the number 1 seed Burke at Harlan School of Technology, formerly known as Burke. So that should be interesting. We'll be there. We'll all be there. I mean, everybody should be there. Ain't nothing else going on today. But hey, man, let the people know what articles you got up, what stories you got up, and where they can read it.
Yeah, so I'm really happy with the coverage that Mark Aboyan and our team did for the Classical St. Mary's game. We wrote a column, we wrote a game story, and Spencer Hassick takes some amazing photos. So I'd say that's top the list. And then, just as local basketball and hockey teams wrap up here the next week or so, just check itemlive.com and the paper every day but Sunday.
Stop sending Mark out to East Bridgewater.
He volunteered to go down to Attleboro too. I'm telling you, I'm not just. No, he wanted to do it. He loves to drive.
To check out your neck of the woods. That's why he wanted to go to Attleboro.
Yeah.
That was quite the drive. I'll tell you that, man. It wasn't too bad because I left here like 2:00, so I got there super early, beat the traffic. But
I got to St. Mary's Classical at 5:15.
5:50. Yeah, I got there around that time. I got there around that time before all the fans started piling in. It was hot in there. It was hot. I was sweating. I didn't like that at all.
You were right in the middle, top of the bleachers too.
And I was in the thick of things. But the things we do for the love of the game.
We love these schools, and don't make fun of me. I know one ball under the basket kind of went my way and I flinched a little bit, so not the best look, but Mark's not going to let that one go, but it's all good.
Before I let you go, your thoughts on the fight, Tank Davis, over the weekend? What were your thoughts on that fight?
Don't get me wrong. I love greatness, so I was rooting for Gervonta Tank Davis. He's undefeated. Let's see that going, continue. But at the same time, my eyes saw what they saw. That was a knockdown. He took a jab to the face and then he took a knee. I don't care if it was his hair product or what. I think that's a -1. And if that was called, Lamont Roach wins the fight. So I can see why Roach fans are a little upset.
Yeah, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have the same sentiment as a lot of people have. Well, do you think they'll do it again?
I think they have to run it back, but I want to see Shakur versus Tank first.
Everybody wants to see that, but somebody got to tell the Turk to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's it. Joey, man, appreciate it. I'll see you at Lynn Tech. Always great having you on.
All right. Thank you for having me. Always great to see you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Plus One with Joey from The Item. I'm Kala signing out. Have a good one.